Bowers welcoming you to Dialogue at EPlus TV6 and a conversation with Steve Holt. Steve Holt Consulting is the name of the firm, and you can find him anywhere, and you'll find out in a moment why, because he does all this social media stuff. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
We're going to talk about social media here, and we don't know where this conversation is going because we're about to have it. But one thing that's happened with social media is that it has changed our world in dramatic ways. I mean, you know, I'm on Facebook and I'm reconnected with people with which I went to high school that I haven't seen in 30 years and would not see and may not ever see, you know, that live all over the world. And I think, well, this is pretty phenomenal. That's just one application for an old man.
That's right. You know, I'm exactly the same way. I went to my high school reunion at the 10-year reunion, and I couldn't remember half the people that were there, or some of them had changed so much I didn't even know. Between my 10-year reunion and my 20-year reunion, we'd all gotten on Facebook. Okay. And so when we showed up at the 20-year reunion, I already knew everything about them and what they'd been doing in their lives. And we just kind of sat around the table like, now what are we going to talk about? We've already talked about it.
I had the reunion.
Absolutely.
So one thing in some ways, well, I mean, it's changing everything about us, I guess, or maybe not everything about us, but how we communicate and interact. So what has been the effect that you see? Because you consult with people about this on how to use it.
Wow, you know, everybody is trying to figure out how to take advantage of this, how to utilize it to its potential. Businesses, nonprofits, churches, I mean, you name it. All these organizations and individuals as well are trying to figure out how am I actually going to use this to my benefit. And I think there are some positive benefits to everything that's happened with social media and that whole phenomenon, and also some negative as well. It has changed the way we think. I think you're right about that. It has also changed the way...
In what way and how I think?
Well, basically, social media has allowed everyone to be a publisher, if you will allow me to use that analogy. Right. Everybody can write what they think and how they feel, even go on at length about it, and bypass any sort of traditional type media, any kind of filter at all.
Like, we're not going to print this, we're not going to publish this.
Exactly, but you know, they can build an audience, and they can build a following using all these social media tools without going through the traditional, what we would call traditional media, and that's very, very empowering to people. So it has changed the mindset of people that I can be more free in what I say, I can connect to as many people as I want, I can build my own customized audience, if you will. But it's also affected them in a negative way, in that because there's no filter, you sometimes can easily make a fool out of yourself in social media. You can also connect with ways that you never could before, and as far as space and distance, being able to connect with people. But it also, I think, takes away some of the personal side of that communication. It allows people to live in that little bubble, in that they don't communicate as much on a personal level, and in fact, especially some of the younger generations coming up, they have a lot of difficulty doing that, actually.
Is that right? So sitting out and having a conversation then becomes a very awkward or uncomfortable.
It's very, very awkward. In fact, you know, my kids will tell me all the time. I'll ask them, why do you text so much? Why do you spend so much time texting constantly on your phone? I said, why don't you just pick up the phone and call your friends and settle this in 2 minutes, like I would do? And they're like, I can have multiple conversations with people at the same time. I can talk to 5 of my friends, Dad, instead of just talking with one at a time. And it allows me to have that free-flowing conversation with a bunch of people, so I can get a lot more done, is what they say. But it makes it more difficult for them to actually converse face-to-face on the phone. I can call them, and they won't answer. But if I text them, they'll text me all day long. It's frustrating for me as a parent, and some of my employees as well. They would rather text me than talk to me because it's just uncomfortable for them.
I use this illustration sometimes, Steve, that I saw my great-grandfather get his first telephone, 16-party line, Limestone County, Alabama, back in the 50s. Never used it. His thing was, if you got something to say to Charlie Bailey, you'll come and see me. If it's not important enough for you to come and see me, then it's not important. I had great aunts living there that lived there till they died. Pick up the phone and be able to eavesdrop on potentially 16 conversations or 16 different people. They loved it. But to him, calling somebody up and say, well, I was just wondering how y'all doing. It's like, well, if something were happening that was amiss in their life, they would come tell us, we would hear. And so I've often wondered, I thought, well, I don't know how he would handle this today. And then there may be a certain propriety in the thing now is almost, you can get too much information almost. It's like
Right.
I'm hearing things about you that I may not need to know or want to know, or if I'm scanning through, or emails. I mean, how many emails do we get that you go delete, 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 right?
Yeah, that's also one of the big problems, I think, with the social media and technology phenomenon in general, is that, just for example, I have a hard time sometimes concentrating and being still just to read a book, for example.
Okay. All right.
And I think that's a byproduct of what's going on right now because of this whole attention, I call it attention deficit.
Okay.
And that there's so many inputs coming at me.
Okay.
Sometimes it's tough for me to concentrate on just one, and I'm trying to consume all these different ones, and I don't really go deep on any of it.
I wonder. And of course, and not, as we've talked about, not having the editor. The editor, we may not have liked the editor, but there was a certain filter.
They served a purpose, absolutely.
They certainly did, because this is not going on until we make sure that it's true or whatever, or we get some verification, or that I decide, okay, this is important enough, I'm going to put it on front page, and the other's going on page 9. Now, we disagree with their judgments. Now I'm hit with it all.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it's all got co-equal space.
And you're going to have to make the decisions about what needs to go out there and take responsibility for the things that have gone out there. And again, like I said before, it's very, very empowering.
Yeah.
But there's also a level of responsibility that is required. And many businesses who don't understand the technology, they understand what they do, but they don't understand the whole technology world, and especially the social media, and they want to jump into it. They have a difficult time being successful in it because they don't understand the mindset and how it works with everybody who's out there.
Okay. You got a saying on the back of your card that it's not about the media, it's about the social.
Yeah, in fact, the reason I put that on the back of the card is because I also wanted to constantly remind myself of that. One of the complaints that I hear from my clients a lot is, Steve, I don't know which tool to use. I don't know how to be successful in using all those tools, and so I'm just going to back off and not do anything. And my argument to them is, it's not about the media, it's about the social. And what that means is, if you can figure out how to use technology and social media in your business to reach those customers and to develop that relationship, if you figure out the philosophy behind all that, then it doesn't matter what tool I throw at you. It doesn't matter which media tool I throw at you. If you have the mindset of how to use these types of tools, you're going to be successful.
Okay. We want to pursue this, and so the method then is secondary.
Absolutely. Okay. The tool is secondary in my mind.
Okay. It's what's coming from.
It's how you use the tool. Okay. It is, in fact, the key word on the back of that card is social. It's all about the social. Social media has been used wrongly by many, many businesses because they think that if they get into it, they can successfully sell. And they view it as a sales tool or even a marketing tool. And while you can do sales and marketing in social media, and there are companies and people doing that successfully, the reason that they're successful in doing that is that they're not selling. I like to give the analogy of the Starbucks marketing. Okay. You walk into a Starbucks store, there's nobody there saying, hey, you need to buy this coffee cup. Look at this coffee cup. This bag of coffee is fantastic. Don't you need this? This is going to make your life better. They have very, very passive marketing techniques, and that you walk in, they provide the atmosphere that draws you in, that makes you want to go there. But there's nobody putting any kind of hard sell on you for literally anything in the whole building. They just take your order, they provide you a nice place to sit and newspapers to read, and by the way, all these beautiful products on the wall with prices in front of them, you can go buy that if you want to, but we're not going to ask you to. And by the way, they sell a ton of that stuff.
Steve Holt is with us, Steve Holt Consulting, talking about social media, how it applies to business and to life. We'll continue this dialogue at EPlus TV 6.
Franny Smith, host of EPlus TV 6 cooking show At Home on the Range. Our show features some of Jackson's best cooks, regular folks just like you and me that enjoy home entertaining and sharing their culinary skills. Join us each week as our guests share favorite family recipes, tips for entertaining, and delicious fare from the natural gas kitchens at Kaufman's Home Furnishings and Appliances. Have fun with local folks who are going to help you feel more at home on the range.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.